don't need 20 friends. You just need 3 motherfuckers and you can take over a country. Okay, that's what we're confused as Americans. We think we need all these motherfuckers. You give me 3 bad motherfuckers and you're finished. You understand me? You're fucking finished because we got each other. And you know.
Look alive. Yeah. Mono Matters, we back in the building.
We are fucking here, bro.
God damn it. We are happy that you are here with us on this Sunday as we record this episode. We put out on Monday, but man, to our loyal listeners, we are glad that you keep tuning in every single week. Y'all ran the last episode up. Major key.
Yeah, man.
We appreciate it. Hey, and make sure if you're an avid listener to the show, make sure you share with a friend, family member, let somebody know, word of mouth, or whatever.
Share, subscribe, all that.
It helps the show out, man. We put a lot of work into this shit, so we appreciate it. On today's episode, I mean, how can we not talk about the elephant in the room?
What elephant?
The red table elephant in the room.
What you mean?
Jada Wicked Smith, man. She's been in the news a lot. She's on the media circuit promoting her new memoir. It's getting ready to come out in a couple of days, and she has been in these interviews and these sit-down meetings talking that tough talk.
Yo, you know what?
And I'm here for it.
I feel like, you know what? I'll say how I feel about it later.
All right, so yeah, what we talking about along the lines of the Jada Pinkett situation. Obviously, we're talking about the situation at hand. The major news is that her and her husband, Will Smith, have been separated since 2016. Mm-hmm. This is news to us as far as the timetable is concerned. Mm-hmm. But we feel we should have a deeper conversation about separating in relationships to begin with, whether or not that's a good idea, what's the pros, what's the cons. Mm-hmm. And we felt like it wouldn't be good for us to have this conversation without bringing on a lady to talk about the shit too. Yeah. So we have a special guest, our homie Keshia Williams is coming on the show, author, life coach, entrepreneur, podcaster herself. She's coming to join us for a good, candid conversation just about these topics overall. But let's talk about it. So, Jada Pinkett Smith, she was in the news, Nove. She was talking that tough talk.
Very tough. Very tough.
The major key point was that her and her husband, Will Smith, have been living separate lives, separate from each other's since the year 2016. Yeah. By my count, that is 7 years. Yeah. A lot has happened in those 7 years. And a lot of things that have happened feel like they don't make sense anymore.
It don't make sense at all.
She also reveals some of the feelings and things that she shared with the late, great Tupac Shakur. And it's got a lot of people on the internet buzzing and talking about whether or not she is sharing a little bit too much, being a little bit too transparent, and whether or not she is not covering the person that she's still married to, her husband, Will Smith. Okay. So we'll get into whether or not, what's the rules of the we're separated period of things. Should you give your partner a heads up if you start fucking with somebody while y'all are separated? Is it a good idea to keep things non-sexual, non-dating while you're separated? And we're also going to talk about maintaining the appearance of still being together when shit is rocky at home. So let's get into it. Overall, Nove, I know you feel some type of way about Jada Pinkett Smith this week. So
what makes you say that?
I can just tell by your visceral reaction and shit. Your body language says that you disgust this motherfucker. So I would ask you, after everything that came to light, her saying that she's been separated from Will, what was your natural gut reaction to hearing some of the things that she said in the New York Times and the Parade interviews and all this other stuff?
You know I'm not a big fan of petty, right? And I say that sarcastically. But we just spent a whole episode, covering Drake being petty. If Will Smith came out a day or two after she dropped her bombshell and officially announced their divorce, I think I would have jumped up and cheered. And I don't say that from a negative place, but you look at everything that has transpired everything we now know. You look at everything that this man has been through. You look at everything that this man has put his career through. And at the end of the day, hindsight is 20/20. But I can't force to look at everything and just be like, yo, did all of that for what? Like, for what? For her? And let's not get this misconstrued. Because I know I'm going to hear some shit in the comments section. Oh, no, you sound a little bit chauvinistic. Oh, no. Shut the fuck up. All right, let's get to the shits, right? If it was anybody else, it probably wouldn't have made any headlines at all. The other side of this equation is, if Will was doing everything Jada was doing, he would be crucified. So my struggle internally is how, like, I feel like Jesse and fucking Breaking Bad, yo. You can't keep getting away with this shit. Like, yo, you can't keep getting away with it. What are we doing? Why? If you answer me that, why?
There's a double standard.
Come on.
Like you just mentioned, though, if Will Smith, if the roles was reversed and you had a grown-ass man talking about the woman that he could have had, whether or not that woman is alive or not, it would look upon the man as being, like, weak and shit.
Absolutely.
It would look upon a man being super transparent about what the fuck going on in his marriage as being, like, super, super duper messy.
Yeah.
I feel like Jada feels entitled to do so based on what she knows about Will and maybe some of his transgressions on his end.
Mm-hmm.
And also the fact that she in marketing mode. She did the same shit when she promoted her show on Facebook, the Red Table Talk, and now she doing the shit with the memoir.
And I feel like that's
she being like over the top,
yeah,
like transparent and using it as a marketing tool.
But that's the part that like irritates me, right? Like, we do such a good job at pointing out clout tracers, and we hold them accountable, or we look at certain things as like, well, if you're doing it for clout, you're going to get what you deserve. Like, we tore apart Adam 22 and his feelings regarding his wife getting stroked out. It was for clout. We understood that.
Yeah.
We even did the whole Remy Ma thing where we went a little bit in depth on that and looking at things and seeing it's for clout. It's for clout. We understand that. We really didn't touch on the Carly situation.
Carly Russell.
Yeah. As far as her husband or her boyfriend, I should say, doing things for clout. We really didn't touch on that. But I feel like the overarching difference is these are once, maybe, very few occurrences. This is continuous. And it's almost feeling like, it feels like leap year. Like, you can set your watch. Every 4 years, Jada comes out and drops some shit and just slowly crawls into her hole. Like, it's funny. Like, the internet, yo, I give y'all motherfucking credit. Twitter and motherfucking Instagram, y'all motherfuckers are wild.
Yo, they going crazy on Twitter.
They called her Bobby D. I was like,
you know the shit
Jesus.
that they doing on fucking Twitter that's funny as hell and it almost trapped my ass and shit? They are doing this thing on Twitter where they're saying like Jada Pinkett Smith is reportedly blank, 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 blank.
Yeah.
And it'd be like, Jada Pinkett Smith was reportedly in the car when Tupac got shot in Las Vegas. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Or Jada Pinkett Smith have reportedly never met Will Smith in real life.
Jada Pinkett Smith reportedly was Jaden Smith's real father.
Jada Pinkett Smith reportedly knows who the parents of Jaden and Willow Smith. Like, what?
It's a lot of weird stuff.
But
shit. Twitter's great.
If you look at it, it's so funny, but it's so disturbing on one side, because if you look at what this woman has divulged and what she's brought to the table,
Red Table,
it's so cringeworthy. Like, yo, why would you do that? Like,
here's why I think it's cringeworthy. And it's just us men talking. And we wouldn't be able to get the other side of the spectrum until we talk to Keshia, right?
So you're saying this for all the dogs?
It's for all the dogs. Tails wagging.
Yeah.
It's, to me, it comes down to why it's so cringy. It's a matter of respect.
Yeah.
And there seems to be a lack of respect on her part.
A big gap.
For about how Will Smith is portrayed in the media, or how the collateral damage might affect him and his imagery to us. Well, let's keep it a bean and shit. A lot of us growing up in the 80s and 90s, we watched Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, bro.
Yeah.
Men in Black. We watched Wild Wild West. We watched I Am Legend. We watched this nigga be the #1 box office superstar in the world year after year after year. But at the same token, we also have watched his relationship with Jada and said, like, how could a nigga like that put up with some shit like this?
Yeah.
This nigga could have any woman.
Yeah.
Or man, because I don't know what the fuck.
All right.
As they say, I'm just saying.
All right.
I'm just saying.
All right.
The reports is out there.
All right. Let it be.
He can have anybody in the world he want. Why would he put up with this shit right here? Their connection must be so strong that he's willing to endure certain shit. And mind you, we could tie that back to the fact that, you know how chicks talk about relationship goals, right? And you made an interesting point off microphone about saying, like, only females bring up that term, like relationship goals.
Yeah.
When we thought about black marriage as far as like a celebrity template to look at, they used at the beginning, they were at the top.
Oh,
like,
man.
Damn, that Will and Jada shit was in rap songs.
Yeah, you got to bring up J. Cole verse.
I mean,
I want that real love. That Jada and that Will love.
I mean, like, what? That shit was it.
That shit does not age well right now.
It doesn't.
It doesn't age well at all.
But the thing with that is, it seems like a lack of concern and respect on her part about, I need to speak my truth. If me speaking my truth results in the fact that you look stupid, so be it.
I don't really.
And I wonder if, as a woman, what does it take for you to get to that point?
My main thing is this, right? All right, so hear me out, right? As I stated before, I don't have a problem with you speaking your truth. I understand how mental health works. Sometimes you need an outlet. But why do you need an outlet conveniently when it's always appropriate for you to make financial gain off of it? That's the other part that adds to the equation, because we can sit here and we can dissect the relationship and dissect the whereabouts and this, that, and the third. And there's going to be people on one side of the fence that say, well, Jada felt this way. And then there's going to be people on the other side of the fence that say, well, don't act like Will wasn't doing this, that, and the third. And I get that and I understand that. But what it comes down to is everything speculatory about Will Smith is speculatory. It's rumor. Nothing confirmed. Every single thing that Jada has brought has been about her own devices and her own spillings, which makes it 10 times worse, because there's a such thing as collateral damage, right?
Yeah.
So one would think, well, you know, I can tell these people something about myself. I might look crazy. But if it involves another person, yeah, they're going to look wild. And I need to know the psyche you need to be in to be like, yeah, fuck it, I'll do it. Like, why would you do that to your husband? Separated or not, if you're on good terms, which they appear to be, why would you even put him in that position?
Only two things could say, okay, I'm willing to go down that road if I'm Jada Pinkett Smith. One is, I value attention and monetary gain so much that I'm willing to sully your reputation, sully whatever social respect you have in order for me to gain the things that I want. Or our relationship, things that you have done to me, things that I know about you are so bad behind the scenes that I'm willing to say, I don't give a fuck about how this shit look about you, because you done did some grimy ass shit to me behind the scenes, and you just gonna have to wear this shit.
All right. So
the reason why the second one doesn't play to me is because I don't know of any public situations or scenarios that have played out where Will Smith has embarrassed Jada Pinkett Smith on purpose or otherwise. So like, why the fuck would you do that shit to me?
All right,
unless Jada Pinkett Smith is completely unaware of how a man's reputation and respect looks out here in the streets socially.
Yeah, because
possible.
I was about to say, like, I understand what you're saying as far as like what you've done to me or how you've made me look might result in me spilling the beans or whatever the case may be, right? You know, I kept this close to the chest because I wanted to see, you know, on air reaction. You know, Jada and Will aren't the only ones that are considered couple goals or, you know, such and such. You know, there's also a Jay-Z and Beyonce where Jay-Z, in fact, by surveillance looks like he's getting the shit beat out of him by her sister on the elevator.
That happened.
She then proceeds to drop an album, and then
airing his ass out.
Everything else is quiet as a church mouse. Now, I stand here as a man trapped in 2023, just forced to look at, you know, cause and effect. Do you not think Beyonce has things on Jay-Z that would probably make him look crazy? Do you not think she would have had the motivation to drop it? Do you not think Beyonce is a loud enough voice that whatever she would say would probably be taken as gold? So,
hold on. Wait, you saying that Beyonce wasn't tacky?
I'm saying that it is very common for musicians to use life struggles, current, present, and past as inspiration, which is acceptable. This is not.
I'm not going to let you off the hook. Are you saying Lemonade was acceptable?
I'm saying...
Yes or no? Was Lemonade acceptable?
Can I cook real quick?
No. Was Lemonade acceptable?
After
you just drew a comparison.
All right.
In contrast.
All right. You want the answer? You want the truth?
I want the goddamn truth.
You can't handle the fucking truth.
All right.
After seeing Jay-Z get his ass whooped in that fucking elevator, I think I deserve some fucking answers as to what the fuck caused that. Was it Becky with the good hair? Cool. Got that answer. You know what happened after Lemonade? Nothing. You want to know where they are now? Cool. You want to know what else we remember about that situation? It happened. They moved the fuck on. Now, since you want to bring up comparisons and you want to do all that.
I didn't. You did.
I did. But you want to try to spin it in a certain light. Let's do this. Do you compare this to the Lemonade situation as if this isn't the first time Jada made this man look like a fucking fool? You know what Beyonce never did? And by no means am I a Beehive member. I need y'all to understand I do not like this woman. But
he said that, not me.
I did. Yes, wholeheartedly. But you know what else Beyonce never did? She never put this man on an interview situation where they're talking about said affair or entanglement.
Will Smith asked to be on the show. Maybe that's news to you, but he asked to be on the episode. He wanted to talk about that.
He wanted to support his wife.
No. He wanted to talk about that particular topic because she saw that he was being dragged in the internet about, because August Alsina did an interview with Angela Yee saying like, yo, I had a situation with Jada Pinkett Smith.
Okay.
Will Smith was getting dragged like, yo, how the fuck could you let this shit happen?
Okay.
So Jada Pinkett Smith offered him, like, do you want to talk about it? He's like, yeah, I want to talk about it, but I want to come on your show and discuss it.
All right. So
he put himself in that situation.
Oh, okay. So bet. Did you leave that interview or did you watch that interview leaving with a bit more respect for Will?
Absolutely not.
Why?
That probably should have been kept in house too. Okay. That's why.
Okay. All right. we'll skedaddle over that because that's a big thing people like to hang on. I'm going to stay away from the big shit people like to hang on. The entanglement, the slap, all that shit. I'm going to stay away from that. There was also a little fucking drop interview where I guess Jada was asking Will something very personal about, you know, their development or their mental space or whatever. And they
had a session. It wasn't a session. They had a guest on the show. That's the parrot who I respect to the fucking end of the earth.
Yep.
And she was like, do you feel like her coming on the show was like a benefit to our relationship, our marriage?
Okay. And what did Will Smith?
Will Smith was like, yo, before you start recording and put me on the camera, I need you to understand that like my social media presence is my bread and butter. You just can't be putting me on camera, filming me all willy-nilly and around the house.
Gotcha.
Like that. Her response was like, here we go again. You see all the stuff I got to deal with. Let me ask you another question, nigga.
So he stated how he felt in that moment.
Right.
Which is probably something she's been asking for. State how you feel. Because he strikes me as very reserved. He does strike me as a reserved young man. Or older man. Do you feel like she had the proper response to that?
In that scenario? Hell no. It felt lack of respect-ish.
All right. Do you feel like it was lack of respect-ish because I really want to know the answer? Or do you feel like it's lack of respect-ish from the area of, now I got to push this content?
Oh, that's a great question.
Because
I would lean more to the I got to push this content.
Because like I said before, I don't have a problem with being transparent.
Yeah.
But just keep it a buck. Are you being transparent for the sake of transparency's sake? Or are you trying to profit? When you try to profit is when I get out of line and when I start getting disrespectful. Because when you start to profit, oh, so you feel like you can divulge your little things that might make you look a little bit, but it's going to make me look like, yo, what the fuck?
Let me ask you a question.
What's up?
I did not even think about that Beyonce shit and Jay-Z shit till you brought it up. Good fucking job by you. You be potting sometimes.
I be potting.
Do you think that if Will Smith handled everything that is coming out of Jada's mouth publicly about their marriage the same way that Jay-Z handled everything that came out of Beyonce's mouth publicly, that we would be looking at Will Smith differently? Because I want to remind our listeners that when Lemonade came out, this was the first, I would say, somewhat confirmation that we had that Jay-Z had probably stepped out on Beyonce.
Yeah.
Before that, we just got the footage in the elevator with Solange throwing the kicks and punches and shit like that. We didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Doing the Tybo practice.
There was even some speculation about Beyonce fucking around with her bodyguard, security guard, or some shit like that.
Yeah, that was.
And everybody looking at Jay like, what the fuck happened? Jay-Z kind of went out of his way to start doing a media run and some interviews on some shit like, yeah, I fucked up. Like, I stepped out. Things got rocky in our relationship and I did a bad thing or some shit like that.
And he proceeded to address it in his album 444.
In 444, a grown-ass man album and shit.
Yeah.
Took responsibility. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Hasn't been talked about since.
No, has not.
You don't feel like there is some culpability on both Jada and Will's part to kind of not monetize, but perpetuate this fucking whole toxic ass weird relationship marriage setup going forward on both their ends by just being fucking opaque as hell about the whole shit?
All right, so let me be as direct as possible, right? I feel like that works when you have the same goals in mind. I feel like Beyonce and Jay-Z have the same goals in mind. They both have a lot to lose if shit goes left or right. They both have a lot to lose if their brand gets tarnished. They both have a lot to lose if things come off the rails as far as them and you throwing Blue and you throwing the twins. There's a lot there for both sides to lose.
Yeah.
As I've stated off air, I feel like from this angle, Will has a lot more to lose than Jada Smith. And here's why. Here's where it plays out for me. When you think of Will Smith, you think of acclaimed actor, Grammy Award winner, music, whatever, all of that. I'm going to ask you to do something very hard that people have a lot of trouble with struggling with. When you think of Jada Pinkett, not Smith, what do you think of? Name her high points.
Woo. Booty call.
What else? It's a short list.
She was in a Matrix movie.
I'm going to help you out.
Jason
No,
Lyrics.
she wasn't. Jada Pinkett Smith was in a fucking Matrix.
Come on, man.
I'm going to help you out.
Will Smith ain't get her the role.
Okay.
But,
all right, so I'm going to help you out. Let's remove Set It Off and let's remove Woo. What you got?
Jason's Lyrics.
A lot of people don't remember that, but yes, it was a good movie.
The Matrix.
Smith was attached to the name, but I got you.
Woo. She
Okay.
got the Red Table Talk. She got
also with Smith. Not a lot. Not a lot. This is why I stated off camera. I feel like in this whole grand scheme, it benefits her to keep the peace rather than him.
I disagree in the fact that it benefits her because it's more of a risk reward for her.
Okay.
Your career is either at a standstill or on a decline.
Okay.
By putting all this shit out in the news, you run the risk of either, not even a risk, you put yourself in a position where you could put yourself back in the limelight by breaking certain news about your relationship.
Okay.
That adds to your relevance. So it's kind of like a win-win. What do you have to lose?
Does Will Smith strike you as a gossiping Jesse type of person?
No.
Does Jada Pinkett strike you as a gossiping Jesse type of person?
Stop saying Pinkett. But no. I mean, yes, she does.
All right. So my overall feelings for the situation has been, I feel like one person is manipulating the relationship to their benefit. And I say to their benefit because you can sit here and you can stand on that ledge of transparency all you want. You are not the one that's looking crazy out here every single time.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
And it's kind of like, if you want to do this, and this is the life you want to live, like, yo, I'm going to need you to take some of this collateral shrapnel too. Like, don't get me wrong. The 7 years of not being separated, that looks crazy on both parts, right?
Of being separated.
Yeah, of being separated, but not separated, but separated in a different home. Looks crazy on both parts, right?
Yeah.
And as crazy as, my son saved me by introducing the drugs might sound, it sounds crazy, right? Sounds wild. It doesn't sound as wild as, I can deny some of the things you've heard about us and swingers, but I can't deny whether or not my husband has found interest in men. That sounds wild. You know what else sounds wild? Just for shits and giggles, for the sake of simplicity. It sounds wild hearing that the man your husband slapped to defend your honor tried to take you out. And we're just hearing about this now.
I mean, he heard rumblings that they were going through tough times in their marriage and that they might get divorced, and he said that he would take her out, or do you want to date?
All right, so
I disagree with you in the fact that there's some culpability on Jada Pinkett's part that she could have done anything to stop the slap at the award show.
I agree with you.
Or that it could have been any type of heads up on some shit like, hey man, when we go inside this award show, I need you to fucking like keep your shit together.
All right, so here's my main issue with that one thing, right? And I don't disagree with you. Will Smith is his own man. He chose to react to it how he chose to react to it.
Right.
In this silent separation, who appears to be having the most fun?
I don't know.
All right, so I say that meaning if this was what it was supposed to be, right? I feel like there's a certain decorum that comes with it. Meaning, like, you know what? If you want to do this, that's cool. But let's keep it cool. Let's keep it professional. You know, let's keep it respectful. We didn't hear a peep about whatever Will Smith is doing. And that's kind of the way it's supposed to be. You, meanwhile, are out here fucking your son's friends.
Friend. Come on, man.
Hey, man, we don't know what else is in this book.
You're right. We don't know.
I'm waiting to find out. But, all right, so let's say this. You fucked your son's friend. Not just any friend. It wasn't like he was a quiet friend. It wasn't like his name was Bobby from down the hall.
And most women would say it was deeper than just sex, man.
Yeah, so
just don't just say we was fucking my son's friend. We had a relationship. An entanglement.
Oh.
Women don't like when you just say it's sex, so
okay.
Tell them what it is.
Entanglement. Cool. Yeah. When did that word come about?
She made it up on the fly. I never heard of that shit before in my life.
Okay. So, are we allowing words to be made up on the fly now to describe what is in actuality a relationship, right? That's what it is, right? Entanglement is to be entangled with somebody. According to that good old-fashioned fucking dictionary that does all the ebonics now.
She definitely thought about that word beforehand. Like, I need something else to say besides we was fucking.
If we're calling that what it is, and we're sitting here and we're dissecting what you're saying, if I'm listening to whatever she said about that, entanglement with Mr. Alsina, that sounds a lot like a relationship when you have a mental connection and all of that other stuff, right?
She's healing that, man.
Right. So I understand Will wanted to get on and address whatever he wanted to address. I would have advised him against it, me personally. But how does it serve you as parading? Because let's call it what it is, since we're calling shit what it is, right? You're parading as this woman's husband. What commentary do you have on the dealings of this woman's relationship or entanglement? I don't get that.
Yeah, you don't have much.
I don't.
So why even invite him to the platform to even have something to say?
Well, from what I heard, I felt like I will shoot Will Bell on this. Jada didn't open her mouth first. He did, which is, I mean, let's keep it a bean. Guy talk is kind of expected. This is a younger man who is going through issues.
Right.
Why would I not expect him to talk about probably the best sex he's had in his life? So, what position of power do you expect this man to play? Let's just lay the cards out on the table. Ladies, you know this to be true. And if you don't, we can fight in the inbox. I'm good with that. As your man, if you call me to the table to discuss, debate, or have a conversation about any sexual dealings or relationships you've had currently while I still maintain this title, please tell me a moment in which I'm having this conversation in which I win and I don't look weak.
Jada didn't care about him winning. That's the whole thing. She didn't care about him winning, or how she didn't care about how Will looked in that situation.
All right, say that last part.
She didn't care about how Will looked in that whole situation.
All right.
Whether it was the entanglement itself during that time, or the fact that we're going to have this platform where you come up to the show and we're going to discuss it.
All right, so my overall arcing issue with that is, as we're going to talk about a lot in the show, is coverage, right?
Coverage.
You're married, right? How big of a deal is coverage for you?
It's probably like the second biggest thing ever.
All right. So, and I want comments now. I know we joke and Like, share, comment, subscribe. Nah, I want comments. I need y'all.
Talk y'all shit.
I need y'all to talk y'all shit. If I'm wrong, please tell me I'm wrong.
Stop playing around.
But specifically men, guys, fellas, can you picture a situation in which you're dealing with somebody and they put you in a situation like this? And it's probably going to be a lesser situation because you're not married. And can you picture a situation in which you're not faced with a catch-22? For all those that don't understand what a catch-22 is, I'll explain. Because I know I've said that before and I haven't made it entirely clear. The catch-22 that I always feel like guys find themselves in is whether I do something or I don't do something, I look crazy.
You fucked.
So, catch-22. If I sit here at this fucking table and I talk about your relationship or sexual acts with this young man calmly, I look crazy. Because what type of man would do that? And how can you put yourself in that position? But if I don't, if I rebuke, let's say Will goes another route. If I completely ignore it, I look even more crazy.
I mean, I disagree. I mean, we look at the template. We look at the template that Jay-Z set with Beyonce after Lemonade had came out. Right? Did he go public with his shit right away? No. He waited. He sat around. He created a platform that was comfortable for himself. Found an interviewer that was good for him, and then he addressed certain shit after Beyonce was transparent to a degree with what happened on the Lemonade album.
All right.
He handled that shit the way you supposed to handle that shit.
Like a G, yeah.
But the difference is Jay-Z handled that scenario coming from a place of him being the one that fucked up.
Okay. I also feel...
We don't know. We do not know all the inner workings of Will and Jada's relationship about Jada doing some shit with August Alsina versus what we heard about what Will Smith has also done.
Okay.
So she might be looking at it juxtapose, compare and contrast. What I have to say at this red table is far less egregious in comparison to what you, sir, have done to me. Because she has said, and he has said in other interviews, like if all the truth comes out, it would be ugly.
Yeah, it'd be crazy
on both sides.
It'd be
but
crazy.
The coverage of a man is a whole nother conversation because there is a double standard that we'll talk about later.
Yeah, later on. We'll talk about that.
Let's shift to the main topic right quick. A major crux, a major point of conversation was the whole fact of the matter that they have been separated since 2016.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great opportunity to have a discussion about the whole separation. We are separated. We are together, but we're not conversation. It's a mind on matters layup. It's an alley-oop shit. So let's talk about it. The thing I want to talk about on the show is, in our eyes, how does that shit work? Like, how does, like, being in a committed relationship, shit go south, shit go sour, shit go sideways, and you like, yo, I think we need to spend some time apart. Us as men, like, how does that shit play in your head? In my brain, off my past feelings about the whole separation thing, to me, it's just a precursor to us not fucking with each other and we're going to break up all together and shit. My mind, and maybe it's my separation anxiety or whatever like that. If a chick is willing to say, like, I think we should spend some time apart, you just don't want to be with me. All right. If we got to that part.
So you brought up something very specific, and I feel like it's important to note this. Separations occur when you're married. Breaks occur when you're single. Now, I
didn't say that, but yes, okay. I will agree with that.
Right? Like, if you look on a job application, there's single, there's married, there's divorced, there's separated, there's widowed. It don't say shit about breaks.
No.
So, me not being married, I would probably approach a separation a lot differently than I would approach a break.
Yeah.
But since I'm not married, I can only approach it from what I've allowed myself to understand, experience to this point. I feel like I would give more credence and a little bit more patience for a separation than I would a break. And here's why. I feel like a break in a relationship, depending on how long the relationship is, let me state that, and also depending on the offense that has caused this break, I really approach breaks with the mindset of, from the beginning, I really need to understand what the purpose of the break is. Is this a break for a chance of reconciliation? Is this a break for maybe I just need to see things another way? Or is this a break for I want to do my own thing? Now, the third one strikes me a little bit differently, because if it's that, then we might as well just break up. I'm just calling it a spade a spade. And I play into the role of it depends upon why we are taking this break, because I feel there are certain offenses you can't come back from. Me, myself, I struggle with infidelity and cheating. I can't come back from that. And I'm saying this from a break standpoint and not a separation standpoint. I have to make that clear. If I have chosen to make this woman my wife, something I've never done before,
that may change.
And I might look at it differently. Mm-hmm. But if we are single and you cheat.
You mean if we all are not married?
Yeah. If we are in this point in time where we have not said I do, and all vows exchanged, yeah, there's no coming back from that. For what? I feel like in their case, if I'm looking at and I can't say I know how their relationship functions, what they allow, everything else. So it's hard to get that. But once again, I bring up the fact of I hate the fucking timing of it. Like, I don't like you didn't have to say this now. And for financial gain and for clickbait. Like, if the number one thing that caught my attention to read your blog, your post, your book, your memoir is, oh yeah, by the way, I don't know if y'all knew, but we've been separated for the last 7 years. It's not the fucking time. With everything your husband is currently going to, banned from the Oscars for 10 years?
Yeah.
He dropped the movie Emancipation. How'd that do? Like, this man pretty much submarined his career in a moment for you. And you repay this man by saying, shit, I was shocked he called me his wife. We ain't been together for 7. Yo, where's your decorum at? Like, what part of your hold down the fort? Like, what the fuck happened? Like, you've been doing such a good job of keeping a lid on this shit. So what the fuck happened?
She got to be one of the most tacky motherfuckers of all time. She got to be one of the most tacky wives of all time, as far as I see it. But I think that with her, I don't even think financial gain was like a motivating factor, as much as one or two things. One, you have the fact of, I just need to get this shit off my chest and get this shit out. Why? Because I need to be transparent. I can't hold this shit in. or I'm not going to have y'all motherfuckers out here looking at me crazy or some shit like that, whatever. Or it could be even worse. And unfortunately, I think it's the worst. And I think that it's more so along the fact that there is a lack of respect in their marriage, where she looks at Will as a person that she is just married to, maybe from a point of regret. I'm not sure I should have married this person. You've talked a lot about a man that doesn't even exist on earth anymore, as far as being your soulmate or being a person that was like who you were tied to emotionally. She has talked about her marriage in ways that has struck me as like, I could do without this shit. I'm tired of this shit. I could do better than you. It just feels like a lack of respect is there. And I feel like sometimes it can be hard as a man to realize like when the respect is gone, it's already over. But on her end, when do you as a woman come to the realization that if you don't respect your man in that space, it's either an educational situation for you where you need to say like, I'm really wild out here and I need to kind of like tighten the shit the fuck up, or I really feel this way and I need to let this man go. And I don't think she has gotten to that point. And I think that she hasn't gotten to that point because let's say Will and Jada do get divorced. Us as outsiders at this point to be able to shit like, we'll probably be like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
I'm glad that shit is over.
Yeah, that's so
Say that same shit 12 years ago or 10 years ago.
Yeah, it can't.
It'd be on some shit like,
what?
Whoa, that shit is wild,
that's
bro.
Crazy, yeah.
But like, it's a lot of relationships and children that have been involved on some shit to be on some shit like, yo, we just gonna fucking quit. Cause yo, you gotta remember, yo, when you get married, you really take a vow to be on some shit like, yo, no matter what, we gonna figure this shit the fuck out.
All right, so I have a question for you then. I got a real nigga question for you.
Get it?
Do you feel like women and men in relationships have different respect views and boundaries as it goes towards their spouses and the way that they are perceived? And I hope we bring this up later when Keshia come on, but I want your real life reaction because I feel that we approach respect from a very different place. I feel like if you were taught, well, we grew up around, the same time period, same rules in play. All a man has is respect and his word. So when we talk about respect, it's the way you talk, the way you act, how you present yourself, how you present us as a unit, and what is divulged and what not divulged. Like, it's very rare that you'll run into a man that is married and having troubles and you'll know everything that's going on. We tend to keep that in-house. Not just from a respect factor, but as a man listening to another man kick his wife's back in, it sounds weird as fuck. Versus a woman's point of view on respect and how they tend to convey how that filters. I feel like the respect level or the respect for self is a little bit different. And I feel like the dangerous part of that is you can tell somebody something about themselves. We've now reached the era where constructive criticism is considered a far cry of anything that is supposed to be supportive. But I feel like we've reached a point where I can be genuine, honest, and open with somebody about something I feel. And I can be disrespected for that. because I'm not on their team. But the amazing thing about that is, had you not told anybody we weren't on the same team, nobody would ever know.
So, yeah, to answer your question, I think that I've talked to and or slept with enough married women to know that there is a difference in the way that married women maybe view husbands nowadays than they maybe did in the past. Or maybe we was living in a fantasy and it was always like this.
Maybe, yeah.
But I would say that there is this idea of, fuck it, I'll get another one. Or that's just my husband. Or that's just my spouse and oh well. So I view you differently than somebody that might be like somebody that, you know, sets my soul on fire and that I'm in love with and we are in this like blissful state.
So you feel the reverence is gone?
I feel like, yeah, the reverence is gone. And I also think that the idea that they need a man to like check certain boxes. I mean, like all the boxes is like gone or some shit like that. And it's like an acceptance of some shit. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, we got a great life together, but we don't got that passion, you know, or we don't have that intrigue, or we don't have that novelty. Okay. That's a role that could be filled by another man, or that could just be something I just say, you know what, fuck it, I just don't got it. Cool.
Peace in place,
or whatever.
Where you need the peace in place.
So I think what we're talking about is the fact that even if your relationship or marriage is lacking in some areas, there is a certain type of way that you need to discuss your marriage. There's a certain type of way that you need to present your marriage to outsiders and shit like that. Because people don't understand that, like, when you are together with somebody, that is God's idea. And when something is God's idea, here comes the devil. And you can see it like when motherfuckers that's like not married. Somebody will tell you like, oh, I'm married. Female or male, you be on some shit like, oh yeah, that's cool. You still want to meet up at the bar later or some shit like that? There's like no respect for it. Bro, that's the devil working and shit. So there is no respect for like marriage nowadays. And I feel like being that women hold the access to sex and they also hold the access to like how far a man could go, they really hold a lot of the power in saying like, no, like chill. We can't do that. That's inappropriate and stuff like that. There's no way in hell that your son's friend should be able to come into your establishment, household, whatever. Yeah. Come into your household and get that close to where y'all will wind up in a sexual relationship.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand.
Even if you are like attracted to this man to like the fucking max, you think this nigga the second coming of Tupac. At some point in time, you have to look at yourself and be like, yo, at the end of the day, I am Will Smith's wife. How does this shit play when I lay my head down on my pillow at night?
Yeah, And
you would hope that you with a husband, Will Smith, who would do the same. I am Jada Pinkett Smith's husband. I'm not finna sleep with this fucking intern at fucking Paramount Pictures or some shit like that.
All right, so
you would think that would be the case.
I got a question.
But it's not like that.
I got a question for you. It's gonna sound like a joke, but it's not. It's dead ass honest.
Dead ass.
So what would Tupac do?
Tupac wouldn't win on Red Table. I'll tell you that shit right now. But anywho, so let me ask you this question before we get into our interview with Keish.
All right.
When it comes to separation, we're just boys up here.
Yeah, just two guys shooting shit.
Let's say wifey comes to you and be like, yo, something is wrong in our relationship. The love is suffering. I don't feel about you the same way I did before. I could tell you don't feel about me the same way you did before. I think we should take a little bit of break, regroup, figure out what the hell we going on with the idea of that we're going to mend our relationship, reconcile, and come back together.
Okay.
Or some shit like that. And y'all say, you know what? We're going to set the boundaries. We're going to set a certain time period. and then we'll hope they get back together and shit.
Okay.
Are you willing to do all the work necessary to make that relationship work? Or is the fact that your girl brought up the whole fact of going on a break strike you a certain type of way? Like, I don't like the fact that she initiated this whole break shit to begin with, or this separation thing to begin with.
That's a good question.
That's very suspicious.
That's a good question. To be honest, my ego is probably going to speak more to why did she bring it up. But if I'm being realistic and I know there are issues, I'm probably relieved. And I'm probably more like, all right, we see things the same way. I've always felt, and I'm probably going to get killed in the comments and the message boards, I'm cool with it. I have always taken the approach of, I feel like if there's a sinking ship, women will look for the exit raft a lot quicker than a man would.
I would agree.
So would I be surprised that she brings it up? Probably not. Because as men, we are trained and we have been drilled to endure. We have been drilled to understand that life is hard. Things that we want are hard, and it's even harder to sustain them. Mm-hmm. So we are in the mentality of, all right, we can fix it. I don't know how, but we're going to fix it. But when it comes to that, I would look at it, my ego first. But I would definitely probably come to my senses and realize, yeah, we do have a problem. There's something going on. I don't know exactly how we got here, but I feel like when that is addressed, I am all in and willing to fix it. Now, you mentioned something very, very important. Am I willing to do all the work? No. And here's why.
Whoa.
Here's why. I feel like in a relationship, there are two people. And I feel like one person cannot do everything.
That's not what I mean when I say do all the work.
Okay.
I said do all the work necessary.
Okay. All right. Yeah. In that case, cool. Yes. But if we're talking about, I feel like that fine line comes when people say stuff like, all right, there's a problem. Gotta fix it. And they sit back and put their feet up. It's like, nah, get in here with me. And I feel like that tells the test of the relationship. Because if both people aren't willing to make things work, then you need to walk away.
Yeah.
Because I find that a lot of people sit on their laurels, especially the people that have activated said protocol. It's more like all right, you got to show me. Like, no, we have to show each other at this point.
Yeah.
So if you're not willing to put in that work and you're not willing to put in or meet me at a certain percentage of, all right, we know there's a problem. We have to fix that problem and come to the table with solutions rather than questions, then I don't understand why we're here. That's just me personally.
Right. All right, so it's my pleasure to invite onto the show our dog, somebody that we actually grew up with.
Yes, sir.
Author of 3 books.
Talk your shit.
Entrepreneur.
Talk your shit.
Podcaster.
Uh-huh.
Certified motherfucking life coach.
Uh-huh. Foot massager.
Foot massager. Irvington, New Jersey's finest. Keshia Williams.
Thank you. Hey, y'all.
What's good? How you doing?
What up, Keish?
Chilling. How are y'all?
All right, so look, this show was heavy on the topic of the fact that Jada Pinkett Smith was in the news in a major way this week. And though we are probably the best podcast in the state of New Jersey,
yeah,
one of our weak points, one of our blind spots is the fact that we don't have a woman's perspective on the show every week.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yo, we got a resource to tap into that we're not taking advantage of. So who better than somebody who's actually written on the topic of relationships and love and healing and transparency than Keshia? And I'm pretty sure that you have some thoughts on the Jada Pinkett and Will Smith situation. So my first question would be like this. I want you to put yourself in Jada's shoes and answer this simple question. Where the hell did she go wrong in handling this situation, and how would you have handled it differently?
Okay. I feel where she went wrong was if they had been separated for the duration of time of 7 years, if it had been kept quiet, it should have stayed quiet. However, she chose to air her laundry. I'm not going to call it dirty. We all heard about it. It is what it is. But I felt as though also if her and Will cohabitated on it, then that's a different situation for her to air it. But I think she went long range on this one.
Do you feel like she would have did this to Tupac and not Will? Because I had a hard time looking at this shit, seeing Tupac and Jada together, and Jada saying, you know what? For the public, we're still together, Pac. But I just really need to be. I feel like this type of shit only happens to people like Will.
Jada would have been a happy side piece with Tupac. Please. This shit would have never happened. There would be no red table talk if Pac was alive.
You don't think so?
It would that would have never happened. I don't see it. And let's remember how they looked at each other on the show that time. So,
my nigga, could you imagine like Pac going on red table talk, talking about how you fucked August Alsina?
I can't imagine.
You want to tell the world about your entanglement?
I mean, first of all, she invented a word to create for cheating. Never mind. You know what? I'm gonna chill.
I feel like I don't mean to paint a picture against all women and shit like that, but I feel like when a woman start talking with her hands about a situation with a dude, you bullshitting. The fuck you talking about entanglement? What is that? Will Smith is looking like, you want to tell us what the hell that means? Because I have no idea what you're talking about.
It was very good theater and comedy for the moment, but it was really like, nah, call it what the fuck it is. Because if Jason Derulo would have said some shit like it's an entanglement, we would have jumped down his throat. And I feel the same should be said for her.
So, Keshia, a lot of times when you're in relationships and the shit get rocky, you really come to a crossroad where you got to make a decision. You're either going to stay together or we're going to break up. But you get them little gray areas where it's like, yo, I'm not sure I want to break up, but I know being right here with you ain't it either and shit. So what's been your history as far as dealing with that feeling of should I stay or should I go? And if you have any history with the whole taking a break or separation in a relationship.
Well, taking a break has come up. It has happened. However, it was discussed because there's lines that can be crossed during a break. And if you don't get your boundaries clear about what's going to happen during the duration of this break, them lines can get crossed.
That is fact. That is a fact. All right. Let me stir the pot. Fuck it. What are some lines that cannot be crossed during this quote unquote, air quote, breakup time? Like,
so wait, are we taking a break or is it a breakup? Because I thought we were taking a break.
It's one of those Dear John letters like, yo, Keish, I feel like I need a break.
Now we taking a break with the intention of reconciling.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So for me, it would have to be discussed on why, how long, and the boundaries that I don't think should be crossed if I even consider this break.
So how long? There's a time limit on a break?
A lot of motherfuckers say, yo, I did some research on this. A lot of people say the healthy time period for a separation between two individuals is 2 to 6 months. Anything longer than 6 months feels like too long, but anything less than 2 months don't feel like you get into the whole, okay, we're not together and we're working on things type of situations.
All right, I can agree with
you can't be separated for like 2 years. Like
no.
Apparently,
that's too long.
Apparently, you can be separated for 7 years.
In the real world. Here in America.
I'm just saying, apparently 7 years is cool, like, to figure shit out.
Maybe you could do 7 years if you like over a certain tax bracket.
You could do 7 years if you.
I was going to say, depending
You
on
could do
the
7 years.
finances,
Like if you like, yo,
that may determine a little bit of a difference. But from where I'm standing, that's a bit much. You know, that's a problem for me.
Like, if this motherfucker take me to court and take half, oh my God.
Let me ask you a question.
I cannot have it.
Let me ask you a question. All right. Does this look differently if Will is the one dropping this hammer?
If Will says like, yo, we have been separated since 2016.
If Will is the conductor of this whole maestro, does it look differently?
I feel like
I don't think he would have did that.
For interest of fairness, Will Smith wrote in his book in 2021 that they were separated. So nobody batted an eye at that. It's just the fact that Jada put a time period on it.
No.
We've been separated since 2016.
No, I don't necessarily think I have a real issue with that. Quite honestly, no. I have an issue with damn near everything else. Yeah. Like if, Will said, Willow was helping me out, she introduced me to shrooms, or, my father taught me how to,
mind.
like all of the extra bullshit that got dropped in the midst of this. Now I can understand people get separated and like to keep it quiet all the time. I can respect that. What I don't respect about the situation as a whole is it seems to be only one person benefiting off this whole thing.
Well, it sounds
and
like
it's
a marketing
very
strategy.
convenient fucking timing.
Marketing
That's what
strategy.
I don't like.
I mean, the timing is the fact that Jada has a history of doing this shit. She has a history of doing this when she's promoting something. When she had the Red Table Talk, she started saying a lot of shit about their relationship. The August Alsina shit had came out. Mm-hmm. And now she's promoting her memoir. Mm-hmm. She feels the need to divulge all this feelings that she had for Tupac Shakur and the inner workings of her and Will's marriage and things of that nature. It just feels like she's on a promo run. And and whatever the casualties from it is, it's just got to be what it is. Tacky as fuck on Jada's part.
Agree. All right.
I'm going to give her one out right quick. I'm going to give her one out.
You going to give her an out?
It ain't a complete out. It's just one out.
It doesn't matter. You're going to give her
a couple outs to get out.
All right. Go ahead.
Bro. If indeed some of the rumors about Will Smith is true, I fuck with Will Smith. I love Wild Wild West. That shit was great.
You speak for your motherfucking self. Don't drag
Men
me
in
down.
Black was amazing.
No, the fuck you won't.
Like Keshia has said before, summertime. That shit is a fucking classic.
That's
Still
cool.
Getting paid off that shit.
All right, do me a favor. Sing Get Jiggy with it.
Not for free, I won't.
Okay.
But check it. If some of the rumors about Will Smith and the way he be rolling out here and his sexual orientation and some of the shit he did outside his marriage is true. I would not blame certain things that Jada has said and done. I would look at it a little bit differently.
Okay.
So, tacky as it may, putting out that business that, yo, we've been separated since 2016. Jada has the hill that she can stand on. This nigga did it first. He wrote in his book that we were separated before. Okay. Just let me give y'all some clarity on what the time period was so I don't look crazy. The August Alsina shit, I can't fucking say shit. But you ain't smack August Alsina. You smack Chris Rock. I'm just saying.
Well, first of all, I'm not going to smack a kid. Second of all, I'm not going to smack a kid who is clearly going through something mentally.
A sick child.
Right. He got a little, he a little different. You know, he got, and I don't mean different disrespectfully. I mean, he got immune system issues. Like, he didn't put hands to August because
I'm just saying, a kid with immune issues came into your house and smashed your wife. If anybody deserved to be smacked, it's him.
No.
Because that one smack will solve all your problems.
Whose house was it at the time?
If
they separated, and she clearly said they are separated and they live separately, whose house was it at the time?
It's probably her house.
I feel like Chris Hansen was on speed dial. That's how I feel.
I bet she wasn't paying the mortgage though. I'm pretty sure they were splitting that shit on Will was paying it. So if he was in the crib, he's probably in the bed I paid for.
All right, Keisha, let me ask you a question, right?
I'm listening.
As we're looking at this through the glass of, they were separated for so long, they kept it quiet, whatever. And I'll even shoot you the bell, bro. Will said it first, right?
He did.
All right, cool. Who does it benefit to keep it quiet?
It would benefit Will to keep it quiet, to be
It would
honest.
benefit Will to keep that shit quiet.
You think so?
Hell yeah. That shit look embarrassing to be on some shit like my wife out here telling y'all niggas that we not together.
Okay.
It would be incumbent upon me to say it first. I need to draw that card first. Like, yeah, me and my wife is like, we separated right now.
I mean, yeah. She's entitled, but I mean, at the end of the day, if you already kept the fact that it was quiet, even though he let it be known in the book, but when she said it, it was just like, oh my God, 7 years. We had our speculations for 7 years.
But Keshia, if you're going to drop that hammer, you got to drop everything that came along with that shit, though. Like that was a nuke.
That's the out. That's the out that I'm giving Jada. It's like, yo, if you're going to open up this door in a fucking book,
you got to walk all the way through.
If I'm opening up my door, I got to open it all up because I don't know what the hell you about to come with next. Because there's so much shit that you could probably say about me, but there's so much stuff I could say about you as well. And I feel like if the rumors
I felt like it was messy. I feel like it was, I think it could have been done in a better taste.
Yeah.
Just like you said, it was tacky. I think that was like real ugly. Because at this point, it seems like you just dragging your dude through the mud. Like you just like, all right, well, you already ruined your career smacking Chris Rock. So let me just dog walk your ass all the way through the rest of it.
Speaking of Chris Rock, this is also new information that nobody fucking asked for.
Nobody asked for. Jada had to tell it.
You know, Chris Rock tried to holler at me when he thought me and Will were divorced. Like, why do you volunteer this bullshit like, Tupac had alopecia too? Who the fuck cares?
Who asked for all this information?
What are we doing? Why? But what? You know what?
I get what you're saying. I'm not saying that Jada is not a tacky motherfucker. She is very tacky in the way that she handles her situation. Maybe based on her mental health history or how she gets down and dealing with her internal demons, she feels like transparency is the best route for her to maintain her sanity in a way of her quality of life. And I understand that. And if you feel like you have to scorch earth in order to do so, then I understand where she's coming from. But she benefiting off of some shit that really don't benefit you. Like, I'm not gonna go buy Jada's memoir.
Why not?
But it's gonna be so many people that do.
I'm not interested in it. But it's people that's buying into the messiness of it.
I might do it
rather than buying
into the character. You know, right now,
and you are author.
To be honest, that's the way of the world. That's the way of the world with reality TV. And this is just her in your face with it. You know what I mean? It's not, she didn't need a show for it, basically, what she's saying. But beyond the red table talk at this point, she like, here, wow, bam, in your face, smack, take all of it.
You brought up a great point, Jay. Keish, homie, you've written several books.
Right.
And you've done a great job of telling a story without collateral damage or involving or outing people. How do you feel from a strictly artistic point of view? She should have handled this and would have handled this differently if you were her.
Well, I'm not her, but I get you. The synopsis is keep your hand out the cookie jar. If you don't want to get caught, keep your hand out the cookie jar. And the reason I use that analogy is because she could have got her rocks off. Nobody ever had to know about it. And we probably wouldn't be talking about this separation for 7 years, and maybe Will went on stage and slapped Chris Rock. Because there's clearly underlying situations we don't have the privy to know
of. This is true. This is true.
Okay.
So let me ask this to both of y'all. It's a real, and this coming from a married motherfucker perspective. It's a real tricky balancing beam to walk on when you in a relationship and y'all experiencing like real deep rooted troubles, but when you in public and people who are invested in your happiness or invested in your marriage or relationship, and they ask you, hey, Keish, how's everything going between you and blah blah blah, such and such and such and such, and things is rocky inside the apartment or the crib, but you have to maintain that whole, we good, everything all right. it could be very, very tough for somebody to keep saying like, yeah, we good, knowing that everything ain't good. Talk a little bit about covering your partner in times of crisis and how that's important for a woman to do in her role, especially when she got to cover her man.
Okay, well, in our own conversation we talked about the queen protecting the king because, every backbone needs a spine, right? Mm-hmm. So if I see you from me as a reflection of myself, my job is always to keep you safe. Nobody should ever be able to attack you from any angle because, number one, I'm not going to have you out here looking foolish. I ain't going to have you looking stupid. It is what it is, but I can't speak for somebody else. But to keep our situation under wraps, you know how it used to be back in the day, what goes on in the house, stay in the house.
Yeah.
This shit don't leave the house. This shit don't leave the crib.
Yeah, don't leave the house.
I feel like there's a certain, we speak and we throw around ride or die, real love, black love, all of that. I feel like there's a certain reverence you have to have for your partner. Like, even if we not on the best of terms, it's up to me to preserve the name and the overall look. Like, I'm not going to do anything that's going to potentially make you look like a fucking idiot. And I feel like as a partner, take it deeper, even as a friend, I feel like Jada has completely fucked that up. Like, on many occasions, not just this one. Mm-hmm. So it's hard for me, and yeah, this might be the liquor talking, but fuck it. It's hard for me to try to stay so calm in discussing this when all I hear all the time is, as black men, we don't do a good job of covering.
Right.
But when you look at this scenario that has played out for over so many years, it's just been like a constant barrage of like, yo, at some point, we're going to have to duck one of these haymakers, yo. Like, you're going to have to duck one of these and, like, let some shit off. Like, fuck it.
Like I said, I'm not giving Jada a complete out.
Bruh, I'm not giving no quarter. No quarter.
She acting like, pardon my French, she acting like a bitch. That has
You can't say that.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
She acting like a bitch that has received numerous phone calls and text messages and photo evidence of a man being out with another man. I swear to God, bro.
Bruh, man.
I really think Will and Dwayne Martin been together.
All right.
Let's just put it out. Let's just put it out there.
Whoa.
The rumors is true. Will's ex-wife said so, and it need to be put out there. She do not respect this man because I think she knows that this man at his heart like boys.
You know what?
I'm sorry. There's no other way around that, Keshia. There really is no other way around that shit. This man is Will Smith. This motherfucker used to be the king of the summer. Blockbuster Will. When his movie was coming out in the summertime, it's like, oh shit, what the fuck coming out this year? Wild Wild West. Fucking I Am Legend. Men in Black. He was killing shit.
I'm surprised you didn't say Independence Day because that's where.
And this motherfucker don't hold a candle to a dead man.
Well, it's not just any dead man. We're not going to sit here and do that man's name like that.
That's the greatest of all time.
While he was that guy.
But you can't make a video like they made dancing the kids parents don't understand and not have that soulmate vibe.
Well.
Yeah.
You can be caught up in the moment. I mean, it's Tupac.
All right, Keish, I got a question for you, right? All right. From the man's perspective, I feel like Will has been under assault and like bobbing and weaving the entire time, right?
Okay.
Is there something about this man, personality-wise, or something that you as a woman can pick up on and say, yeah, I can understand how that would happen?
Like a lack of respect?
Yeah.
The only thing I could think of, because I mean, I've heard stories about Hollywood. I've heard they have these folks doing things, and a lot of people been having podcasts saying, you know, how they'll have you in a room and XYZ. I don't want to get too explicit, you know.
Those blindfolds come out, they start passing around that KY.
Listen, all I can say is this, because you know me, I do facts. I don't do fiction and I don't do bullshit.
Heard you.
If that's what's going on, and it is unfortunate that if that's what happened between them two, then maybe there's a reason why she feels the way she feels. And I mean, I can only speak for me. That's not what I'm into. Bottom line.
I do not roll that. I do not like those parties, she said.
You don't like those parties?
I do not get down on those parties.
We're not doing none of that.
Bro. All right. So, amongst other things that, she leaked out to the public along with, it's my husband, but technically not. She was out here slinging that rock. You might have seen her in The Wire. If not, you missed it.
The devil.
She talked about, what really kind of, I don't want to say it makes sense because I don't ever want to speak on anybody's parenting or upbringing or anything like that. But when you got Jaden Smith at 15 asking for emancipation and getting the fuck out the house and saying it's the only way he can live his life. And then when you take a look at his life right now, I'm not saying there's anything fucking wrong.
I'm not going down that road with you. I'm not going down that road with you.
Just saying. When you take a look at this, it's almost like, what the fuck was going on in that house?
It just seemed like there was a lot of freedom going on in that house. And me being a new father and also raising a 15-year-old stepson, I'm not going to even start to journey down the road of understanding somebody else's parenting style.
You know what?
Because you have to be open-minded to a lot of different parenting styles. We talk about, like, from what we even know about Jada Smith,
I've dated people with kids.
Creative,
really
different type of spirit.
You are absolutely
and the way you have to parent that, you have to kind of like you have to widen out your boundaries and maybe what you believe in. Now, the whole shit of like, my son bought me ayahuasca and we doing psychedelics and shit like that, that won't be me.
Okay.
All right? That won't be me. But at the same time, I have to be open-minded to the fact that, like, you can't raise every kid the same and shit.
This is true.
I can't go down that road.
This is true.
They have their own personalities and they all adapt to everything differently. So it's like, and those children were raised with a substantial amount of financial health
support.
Yeah. And you have the other children. You got some. I mean, you might get some parents that want to smoke weed with their kids. I mean, if that's what you do, I mean, I'm not here to
I can look past that.
I'm just using that as an example. But realistically, you got folks that be out here smoking with their kids. So it's just a difference of it's a heighten of the drug, if that's where we want to go with it.
So
it's a heightness of the drug.
Let me ask you a question. We asked before whether or not you've been in a scenario where you had contemplated taking a break or separating from your partner for a while in the past. Do you feel like there are certain things that you are just wasting your time trying to separate from, that there is no rehabilitating? And if so, and if not, can you see yourself setting some boundaries with your partner that is like somebody might find questionable? Like if they say, yo, we're going to separate, but yo, we can date other people. Do you have a problem with that?
Absolutely.
I do.
Yeah, cheating.
That's not cheating.
No, like if the reason we're separating or they want to separate is cheating, I'm not doing it.
Okay.
I'm not doing it.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, we off air, we discussed that. And I see the views, and I just felt like my view is if you want to cheat, you might as well be single, because or find somebody that wants to be in a polyamorous relationship with you. That's not what I want, and you're not going to dictate what I want to do, because if that's not how we started out, and it was supposed to just be you and I, us and we, where there was no third party, then I got a problem with that. Like you may need to go figure that out without me. I don't want to be a part of that. That's your choice. That I can't take your choice from you, but I could choose how I deal with you, and I'm going to exit stage left without you.
I also feel like if something I would consider taking a break from, and coming back and maybe reassessing. And sometimes people just grow apart and they want different things. And you don't really realize that until you start coming into your own. Right. It's not something that starts a certain way, but it's something that, you know, life does to you where you start going down a path and you might want different things. That's something I can see myself taking a break from and really taking the time and really assessing, like, yo, are we still aligned in what we're looking for, or is it time to go a different way?
That's a prime example of that is high school. You know how you got a high school sweetheart and you may go to college, or y'all don't go to college together, or y'all go to different colleges. And
Keish, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was a whore in high school. I'm yeah.
But you went to all boys high school.
All right, time the fuck out. I don't like the way you just put that out. First of all,
I just want to be transparent.
First of all, you can be as transparent as you fuck want. I don't like the way you just try to shoot that. But first of all, let's not act like the all boys school, all girls school wasn't the motherfucking mating place and fucking breeding ground for a lot of y'all walking around right now. It's cool. It's cool.
Okay.
But yes, I was in a place then. Yeah, take a sip. Take a sip.
Just making sure people knew what the hell was going on.
I don't like the way you tried to throw that out there.
No, I didn't. I'm just saying.
I didn't like the way you okay.
Like you was a wild boy, but however, you didn't just go to all boys school though. You know, like it was just, you know, I'm just saying. Fuck that.
I will say this though. If I was in a situation where I was in a serious relationship, I'm a married man. So if I was taking a separation period from my wife and we had to set some boundaries, it would be very, 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 very hard for me to wrap my head around the fact that, like, we're going to be having sex with other people. Because
that y'all going to have sex with other people?
It would be hard for me to wrap my head around the fact that
I'm just saying. Don't get me wrong. Everybody got needs. I
get what you're saying. It would be hard for me to agree to that as a man, thinking of my wife having sex with another man.
I ain't doing it.
You get what I mean? Like, we all have sexual needs. I get that. It will also, not as hard, it would also be very difficult for during that separation period for us to also agree to have sex with each other. Because I feel like it's hard for me to heal in the place with the person that damaged me, but it's also hard for me to heal and learn about what the fuck is going on so we can come back together and be good if we having sex and having great sex. Because I'm thinking to myself, like, yo, we having this great sex. Everything feels great after the great sex.
And it's not even great. It's great sex because it's toxic sex. Because you're not fully invested and you're able to fucking have sex with somebody in that manner like you probably wouldn't before.
I can't say toxic because if we agree to it and the boundaries already been set. It's more so
y'all just have unresolved issues at the moment. I wouldn't call it toxic because that's borderline saying. Wait. What's your definition of toxic when he said that from his perspective? No, what's your perspective?
I guess
you act like you about to get hella
why do you feel like it's toxic sex? No.
All right, I feel like if we're in, let's just call it a quarrel, right? If we're in a quarrel and we're taking our time, whatever respective space we need. If we're doing that, I'm not approaching the situation nor the sexual act like I probably normally would. It's probably going to come from a different place. Not generally because I might want to, but generally at this point, my safeguards are up. This is where I have to come from it from. I cannot be fully invested in a situation that's in flux. So therefore,
but it depends on why it's in flux, though. I mean, you got to remember, we didn't talk about what the situation was. We was just saying, you know, could you have sex or not? You know what I mean? Because I mean, people have angry sex all the time. You know, mad sex, bust a good nut. Yo, you want a sandwich? You know, you want a steak? I'm just saying.
This brings up a great question. Hold on.
Let her cook. She cooking. Go ahead. Keish, cook.
Nah, go ahead and ask your question.
So, a lot of people would say that makeup sex is the best sex. I would disagree. Right. I would disagree and say that I miss you sex is the best.
Nah.
But that's neither here nor there. I haven't seen you in a while.
I mean, that may be your opinion. What about you, Nove?
That's just me.
See, I feel like if I give this answer, it leads more to the.
No, it doesn't. We going to stay on topic of what's your answer.
Go ahead.
I like angry / we just had an argument sex.
And that's why your ass chuckled the way you did. Foolish.
I just look, you know what? Because don't get me wrong. I miss you. Sex is great. It's awesome. It's sweet. It's enduring. But I don't want to like try to put your head through this fucking headboard because I miss you. Like, no.
Wait.
Hey, yeah, exactly. I need more attached to that. I need a little bit more fuel on that. So that's where I come in, and that's where it's like
tomato.
Yeah.
So let me ask this: would you say? I'm going down a path that you said.
That's cool.
Would you say that makeup sex, without actually having resolved the issue that was the issue to begin with, is also toxic sex?
Yeah, absolutely.
You feel so?
Absolutely.
I don't think so, man.
Absolutely.
I think you got a.
You know what it is?
You got a wild definition.
Nah.
Of toxic.
Nah, you want to know what it is?
No, because after the fact, if it depending on the duration of time, and y'all ended up having makeup sex, that could open the door to have a conversation about what's been going wrong. Because sometimes people, I'm gonna tell you this about a man and a woman, and it's harder for a man to be vulnerable with a woman. It's harder for him because if he lets his guard down, knowing that you could use that against him, that's another deal breaker. With the disrespect deal breaker of me opening up to you and you using it against me.
All right, so like we said before, we don't get opportunity to have a woman's perspective on the show very often, so we really got to take advantage of the opportunity that we got with you. So take us into the mind state of a woman who has checked out of her relationship. Like completely, you fucking with a dude, things ain't going right. He made a violated in some way, shape, form, and fashion. You have women who get into these situations where they like, you know what? I'm not even checked into this shit. I'm not invested in it at all. Can you see how a woman would be in that situation and start acting like Jada would act? And how does a woman get there?
Well, for me, the emotional sense has to be gone. Like I don't feel anything. Like I'm numb at this point. I'm not talking to you. I'm not calling you. I'm not checking for you. None of that. Because at the end of the day, if we are still in a relationship, it'll be reciprocated. If there's no dialogue, there ain't nothing going on. If I don't know what's going on with you, I haven't seen you in 2 weeks, if you want to put it like that. Sure. Because if anybody with a lady, you checking in. You know what I'm saying? Because most people are, I ain't checking in with no broad. Like, it's not about checking in like you have to be checked on. It's just making sure everything is good. If you don't even want to see if I'm breathing, then there's nothing going on. Clearly.
Sure.
Now, if some people that deal with silence a certain kind of way, but you can deal with silence, but you can still be silent and still send a text message to let me know, yeah, I was thinking about you. I got some shit going on right now. Blase. You know what I mean? I'm going to holler at you when I'm good. That's at least letting me know that you all right, but you got some shit on the brain. If I don't know what's going on with you, period, then clearly I'm not the only one that is checked out.
What's some other like little nuanced details that a man would know that his female is completely checked out outside of, reaching out? Let's say they live together, so it ain't no worried about like getting text messages or whatever like that. How would you know, like, okay, she ain't here. She here, but she ain't really here.
She don't want you touching her. She don't cook you dinner no more. She ain't trying to sit on the couch with you. It's just little subtle things like it's one word answers. Things like that. Yeah. It's dry as hell.
I just had
ain't no emotion behind nothing. Like it's just like it is what it is, And us from being up top, even though I'm here, I've seen a whole different type of culture of relationship, like these dudes be down here running wild, just like these broads. And I be like, yo, that is not the move. But on another note, just not being vocal, I don't want you touching me. We not, no intimacy, no conversation. I figure that's pretty much dead.
All right. So I'm going to play into a different dynamic, right? From what I've been able to dissect about this relationship, looking at Jada and Will, it seems like the wrong person has most of the masculine energy and the other person doesn't. As a woman, do you view a relationship differently when you view you having the more masculine energy than your partner?
I like a manly man, so I can't really speak for that. You know, like it's
When
okay
you say
to
manly man, you have to be very descriptive because
okay,
I've
well, when I
heard,
say okay, go
yeah,
ahead. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
we
No, what
need
have you heard?
we need more than just manly man. Like
You
I've
mean a
heard,
person that takes care of his business? He's, pretty much self-sufficient, but doesn't mind his woman, being involved. A pretty good communicator, and he gonna court his lady. Not some dude that want to stay home, lay around, and have you taking care of him. Now, I don't consider that no man. I consider that a little boy.
That's a boy though.
Right, but I'm just giving you a
that doesn't
dynamic
really.
of
All right, so
well. So
all right,
what?
so
So
I'll put it this way: do you feel it is a problem if you dictate most of the terms in the relationship? Like,
no, I figure it should be 50-50. But it depends on who handles what. Because, like we discussed earlier, it's a concept of the man take care of the house, or he take care of certain bills and I take care of other things. Like, or we both handle things evenly. It just depends on the dynamic in the home.
So wait, you would be cool with 50-50, right?
I mean, 50-50.
I was about to say, Keish,
I was about to say,
Keish.
no, wait, when I say 50-50, I don't mean like handling the bills. I meant like responsibilities. I'm not talking about finances. Let's not misunderstand where I'm coming from, because 9 times out of 10, the man is paying the bills in the house if he a real man. I've been taken care of. So, and when I say that, I'm not saying that he's not allowing his woman to participate in like light bill, internet little stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying 9 times out of 10, a man that has a mortgage and y'all in the house or whatever may have you, he's paying the big bills in the house.
Okay.
So hold on. Let me ask a question then. Do you fall in that 9 times out of 10? Like, could you see yourself in a relationship with a man that is like, yo, we need to have I need some contribution from you when it comes to the mortgage?
And not only that, would you look at him differently?
I mean, well, right now I pay my own mortgage, so it's kind of hard for me to even understand that dynamic.
Hey, yo, stop taking this fucking escape route, Keish.
I'm not taking the escape route. I'm just saying, like, okay, so the person that I'm dating, he has his own place and I have my own place. So right now, we still in the courting stage. I mean, then I've always had my own, so it's kind of hard for me to answer that. But retrospective, if he paying the bills, I'm cooking. You know what I mean? I'm doing what I need to do as the woman in the relationship.
Okay, but all right, so this is what I'm fucking trying to shake loose. I understand what is. And, a lot of times we're forced to approach a position and we're forced to approach a situation from what is, because we live in the realm of reality. I get that.
Right.
But what would be your preference in approaching the situation? For instance, right? You said you dating a dude right now. Congrats.
Right.
Congrats. I know it's crazy out here in this dating streets. I get it. So let's just play. Let's play a little game of hypothetical, right?
Okay.
Down the road, you decide, all right, you know what? This whole separate living shit ain't for me. Let's really build and let's invest or let's live together, whatever. In your mind's eye, what would you expect from your man, and what would you be willing to compromise on?
If I look at it like this: if he paying the bills or he paying the mortgage, I have no problem contributing to what I use in the house, like utilities, food, all of that. I have no problem with that. From Keish, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I mean, to me, that's a whole nother thing. Like, you figure that shit out. If you really with somebody that you rocking with, and y'all really trying to build some shit in a relationship, that's a really, really, really simple conversation.
The only reason,
and that's where I'm coming from, because I'm like,
I feel like the problem I have is when we start to talk about, this ain't no disrespect to women who grew up without fathers or nothing like that.
You sure?
But like, nah, it ain't no disrespect, because
right.
you can't blame somebody for what they don't know. But like when we
if
get people,
if you don't have the information, you can't be.
When we get men trying to define femininity, but don't have a good archetype of what femininity is, or we get women who try to define masculinity, but don't have a good example of what real manly man or masculinity means or leadership looks like. It's so, y'all gotta understand, like, leadership and being a manly man, like, comes in so many different shapes and forms.
It definitely does.
You get what I mean? So you can't really, like, put that shit in a box. I'm not saying that you're doing that. But what I'm saying is, like, if you look at a dude like Will Smith, right? A lot of us dudes will look at Will Smith and be on some shit like, yo, you putting up with a lot. Like, if it was me, I would do something different. But a lot of times we really don't understand, like, there is so much shit that happens behind the scenes that you really can't wrap your head around.
Earlier. You don't know what they discuss, even though she's putting everything out here on Front Street at the moment.
Right.
And we don't know if he said it was okay. She didn't make that valid. Right. And I mentioned that earlier, but however, because I said they cohabitate and we don't know what they discussed.
Exactly.
However, it's out in the open. It's been out in the open, but she just validated it for us at this point.
So he's making this. He's probably had to make decisions in their relationship and their marriage with the idea in mind, like, yo, we got 3 kids, 2 biological and 1 where you're a bonus mom to my stepchild. Like, you got to make some different decisions that ain't got nothing to do with how you is as a man. You got to really look out for your kids at that point. So we'll put that to the side. Because when kids is involved, you got to make decisions that's really tough and shit like that. To me, it's where you can't put your man in situations where you're not allowing him to step into the man that he could be. And I feel like that is what Jada has done with Will. Like, a lot of people use that term emasculate. I feel like she has put him in a position where it's sort of like, how can you put me in a position where I could be a leader in this when you are sullying everything that I am trying to do in the public eye? And I can't really step into the man that I'm really supposed to be and shit. Because if I talk the way I want to talk or talk the way I could talk, it look like I'm bashing my wife and shit. But you have no problem bashing me.
And this is why I play so heavily into the question I asked earlier. If this was Tupac instead of Will, would it be the same situation? And
we all agreed that it would not be.
A lot has to be dissected and looked at because, I feel as though at this tender age that I'm at, that I've noticed a lot of talk about what it is women want, what it is women desire, and what it is women need. And then you look at what they have, what they want, and what they need, and you ask yourself, all right, so what's the problem? But I feel like we come to this point sometimes where it's like, you remember that old adage, like, you can't have everything?
No.
You can't have everything. So if you have a certain amount, it's up to you to make that shit work. And neither here nor there how they even started off, who was chasing who was obsessed with who. That's none of my business. The fact that you chose to make this commitment and the fact that you chose to step into this role, because as we discuss on other shows, boyfriend, girlfriend, different from husband, wife.
Very different.
Of course.
When you step into this role, you accept everything that comes with it. So the fact that you stepped into this role and your actions and your conduct lead me into a place of like, yo, I can't figure out what you want if you can't figure out what the fuck you want. And it's funny as hell we're talking about this Jada Will thing because I believe it was Will that said something very powerful that a lot of people agreed with, but apparently they forget about. It is not my job as my spouse to make you
happy. Right.
That's not my job. But everything you hear stems from happiness, stems from some type of stimulation. And it's like, yo, I've done everything I can do to this point. So now what the fuck do you want me to do? And very rarely do I hear on her side things that she's tried to do.
Yeah.
So it reads as, pardon my French, fucking entitlement. In a place of like, well, for instance, she brought up an interview she had with Gwyneth Paltrow on the Red Table where she was talking about how things have declined sexually, and she was looking at it like, well, you kind of expect somebody that's been with you so long to know what to do. Like, yo, in what language does this fucking work?
No.
Like, no,
doesn't work in marriage.
It doesn't work that way.
No.
Like, yo, be a mature fucking adult and tell this person what they want. And if you're not mature enough to do that, then allow this man the grace and the fucking respect to walk the fuck away.
Yo, you know what it felt like? It felt like Jada was saying, like, our sex life has gotten stagnant. But I bet Pac would know how to.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
that's how the shit really sounds and shit. Like, this nigga Pac would know how to turn me on and shit. Why the fuck can't you?
Well, I mean, she uses Pac as a scapegoat to disregard what's really going on. If you look at it, he's just a way out, so she doesn't really have to go too in depth to finish off Will and his character. If you think about it, well, if Pac was here, he'll know what to do. That's just like if we was to say, well, if God was standing right next to me, he's going to tell me what I need to do right now.
Yeah.
Not knowing you got to make decisions for yourself and be accountable. And I talk a lot about accountability because, like I said earlier, I feel like she could have kept that to herself. And if the August Alsina thing didn't come out, I don't think we would still know whether they were separated or not. I think they would still be making appearances. I think everything would still seem like everything was good. But also as people, I'm not saying us as people, as people in general, need to stop idolizing celebrities because that takes over a mindset of that's how it should be. And that's, you don't know what they got going on behind their closed doors. Like we mentioned.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Just because they make money publicizing their business does not mean they're not broken. Hell, it's still if not a drawing at this point walking around here. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you even know who you are as a person? Because a lot of people lose themselves in characters, in a false reality, and the bullshit that they paint for other people.
Mm. So let me ask this last question, unless no one got another one.
Yeah, I got one. Go
ahead.
I'm gonna wait. All right. I'll ask this. All right. So, taking everything you know from this situation, we could use this as a case study. Let's call it the case study of Jada and Will. How has this changed, shifted, or made you reassess how you view the closeness of relationships in regards to what the public sees versus, for lack of a better phrase, what you know is true?
From what we're being told?
For me, it's always been one of those things where I've never subscribed to relationship goals. I felt like that was something that was designed, by lack of a better phrase, the other sex. I've never strived to be like another couple ever. It's cringy to me. I've always viewed it as I want our type of love, communication, interaction to be unique and different in itself. And to watch this soap opera play out, I feel very much in the space of believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. Because as much as we've shot holes through everything that Jada said, like you said, Will has said some things too. And standing in the position that I'm at, if I was to place myself in the psyche of this man right now, I could only imagine what I could say. And then it creates a sense of like weirdness because I already know in my mind, as much as I've been stamping the table and everything, like, yeah, we'll need to fight back. I can also tell you, he can't say anything.
Yeah. I bet you
I'm
Jada
about to
feels
say
the
there's
same
no
way.
fight.
Like, nigga,
There's no fighting that at this point.
Jada probably could say the same thing. Like, nigga, you can't say
You
shit.
can't
Because
say.
I know all the shit that you did too, brother.
You can't say anything. Not only can you not say anything because you have to be aware of the get back, but it's also public perception of when a male decides to dish quote unquote tea. It just plays differently.
That's true.
It plays differently. If Will was to come out and say some shit, it would just play differently because my first question as a man is like, yo, why are you even engaging in this?
That's also a thing too. Like if you ever in a failed marriage, the majority of the bulk of the questioning probably falls on the man.
Absolutely.
Like, damn, like y'all got a divorce. Like, yo, what happened?
Yo, what happened? What you do wrong?
And I would say, like, Keisha, most people would ask the woman, like, what happened? Like,
oh yeah,
what did he do?
But it's a completely different tone.
Yes, that's what I mean.
The tone is completely different. If Will was to come out and level some wild shit, it would be like, oh my God, now I understand, or something. The sympathy would not be on his side.
No.
And it's crazy because after every drumming and every type of emotional and psychological drumming that this man has appeared to take, as a man, it's almost like I look at it like, yeah, that's what you signed up for. Like, we're supposed to be the strong, quote unquote, silent, quote unquote, hey, yo, you know what? We handle in-house business in-house. Yeah. Perfect example when we alluded to the Remy and Papoose shit. Papoose has been quiet this entire time. And I stood on it and said, that's what the fuck he's supposed to do. Because anything you say now makes you look bad. So all you have to do is sit back, continue to let her talk, continue to let the situation play out.
Right.
And at least you get to keep your dignity.
Right. Yeah.
At the end of the day, you don't have the time to respond to this. So it's kind of like a lose-lose position, which is awkwardly where I find a lot of situations with males.
A man get to talking, he might look weak.
Yeah.
So,
or if you talk too much, you look weak. So, yeah.
All right. So, Keish, so we're gonna wrap up the guest appearance, but we can't wrap it up without talking about what the hell you got going on. I mean, you've done so much.
Talk your shit.
Since we've last seen you.
I said talk your shit.
It's almost like you're a total different person.
Yeah.
You've written 3 books.
Yeah. Down moved out, Georgia. Certified
life coach and re-upped your whole life down south.
Foot massager, cyclist.
Tell us a little bit about your last book.
God.
Tell us a little bit about your last book that you wrote.
Okay, so
and also about the podcast that you got going on.
I heard she was in a marathon too.
Oh boy, if you don't get the hell
triage,
on. Anyway.
Triage surgeon and all type of shit.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so tell us about reminiscing in the aftermath, healing after the pain.
Okay, so reminiscing in the aftermath is basically the healing process after Loving with Emotions. And Loving with Emotions 1 and 2 basically had a version of my adolescent life and my young adult life to the point of, you know, me getting to where I am now because carrying around trauma. You know what I'm saying? When you don't heal from stuff and you keep moving on from it, eventually you're going to have to sit with your shit and figure it out. You know, you got to figure out what could have been different, and where did I play a part? And it takes a real person to sit with themselves and understand my accountability and where was my role. You know what I'm saying? Because it's 3 sides to a story. It's 3 sides to a coin. And I remember, like, when I was a kid, the mailman said that to me. He's like, you know, we knew it was heads and tails. And he said, what about the round part? And it stuck with me since I was about 10 years old when he said that. Because I'm like, that's fact, you know. It's your side, my side, and what really happened. So we know from my gaining point, y'all hear what happened. And I'm telling it from, my point of truth. But I was also transparent enough to say, I was caught up, I was in love. I put my whole heart in it. But that's who I am as a person. I would never take that from anybody. So it's basically the triumph from what was, what has been, and where I am now, my future. And who knows what the next book gonna be about.
All right, tell us a little bit about the podcast we got.
Okay, so the podcast, Concrete Rose and Growth, which is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc., and Google. The podcast basically breaks down all 3 books. I'm on season 2 right now, and season 3 will come out eventually. I have a timeline for it. But it's a breakdown. It's also self-reflection and growth, and just giving my synopsis of how to handle a certain situation that you're in. And if it resonates with you, take it with you. If it doesn't, let it fly. Just life experience I speak on.
That's one of the things I've always respected about Keish. Like, it's very much like, if it applies, if you fuck with it, fuck with it. If you don't, that's cool. Like, I'm not trying to force that shit on you. Like, shout out to you. I fuck with that.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
But yeah, man, though you are far away, catching up with you today felt like you was right here in the room with us. So we appreciate you stopping in on the Mind on Matters podcast. I'm pretty sure this is not going to be your last time on the show. But thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to stop in, check up with the boys. Even though you wasn't drinking on shit. Next time you come on the show, make sure you have a bottle of motherfucking Jose
something.
Cuervo.
I'll make sure I have something.
We don't do tea.
Next
God
time.
damn it.
Listen, that's what I wanted at the moment.
All right. Well,
don't mess with my zen.
Nah, man.
But we appreciate you. We love you. Until next time, we'll catch up with you.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.
Yeah.